All right, class, since I'm not with you today, I wanted to make a little video to give you a little bit of help in case you're stuck on elimination. I know you're doing this in your actual class today, so you did some practice already, but you may not be completely comfortable. I'm going to go through a few of these problems. There's varying levels of difficulty here. So if I look at example number one, number one is set up so I can already add the two equations together. And the reason I know this is if you look at the x's, their coefficients, -10, +10, are opposites. Same number, opposite signs. So if I add together, I'm going to combine the like terms, -10x and +10x, it becomes just a 0. So they cancel each other out. They're gone. They're eliminated. That's why this is called elimination. Now for the y's, the 7y and -2y. Well, 7 and -2 makes 5, so there's 5y total now. -26 and -14 is -40. So now I can solve this pretty easily. Just divide by 5. Let's see that y is equal to -8. So now I have to figure out what x is, so you can just plug -8 into either one of the original equations. Really doesn't matter which one. So maybe I'll do the bottom one. It's got a little bit smaller numbers. So it says 10x minus 2 times y. We now know that y is -8 for our solution, so we plug it in there. Continue, equals -14. -2 times -8 is a +16. We subtract 16 from both sides to get -30. 10x equals -30. Divide by 10, and we see that x is -3. Now I can write my answer, the x value first, the y value second. So that's substitution. Or sorry, elimination, not substitution. That was example number one. Number 2 and 3 are similar. Because 2 you have a 4. Sorry, excuse me. And number 2 you have a 4x and a -4x. They're opposites, they'll cancel. Number 3 you have a -4x, 4x, they're going to cancel. When we look at number 4, the x's don't cancel because we have 7 and a 2. The y's don't cancel because there's a 5 and a -1. None of those are opposites. So we have to introduce a multiplier. If I wanted to get rid of x's, I have 7 and 2. The smallest number that 7 and 2 both go into is 14. So if I could make a 14x and a -14x, they would eliminate. That's a possibility, and we can do that. But if we look at y's, this one's a little easier. This is a 5, +5. This is a -1. 1 and 5, they both go into 5. So if I can have a +5 and a -5, they would eliminate. Notice I already have the +5. I don't need to change that one. So I want this to be a -5. It's already negative, so all I have to do is multiply it by 5. So we have to distribute throughout that whole thing. So I'm going to rewrite the problem. First one gets to stay the same. The second one I'll multiply with 5 throughout, so 10x minus 5y equals 115. And now I can add those together. Add like terms, 7x and 10x makes 17x. 5y, -5y, they eliminate, they're opposites, they cancel each other out. And then here I get 136. Then I have to divide by 17, that's a big number. Oops. Grab a calculator. (136) divided by 17 is 8. So I get that x equals 8. And so now I'll take and plug that into either one of the original equations, maybe the one with the smaller numbers. So the second one said 2x, but I now know that x is 8, minus y is equal to 23. 2 times 8 is 16. Subtract the 16. (y equals 7. I've got to divide by a -1 because I want a positive y.
Yeah.
So y is equal to -7. So my answer, 8, -7. 5 and 6 are going to be similar to that. You can multiply just one of the equations by a number. So you could do that in 5. You could turn this, so you have a 16x, you could turn this into a negative 16x by multiplying by 2. Or you have a negative 3y, you can make this a positive 3y by multiplying by negative 3. I'd probably go with the x's. I'd probably multiply by 2. And number 6, if I look at the y's, a 3 and an 8, those both go into 24. I don't really want a 24. Look at the x's. Oh, if 1 and 7 both go into 7. I want a positive 7 and a negative 7. I already have a negative 7 here, so I'd like a positive 7 here. You can do that by multiplying by negative 7, because negative 7 times negative 1 makes it the positive 7 that we want. You just have to distribute that throughout. But let's go down to number 7. If I look at x's, 4 and 3, they both go into 12. Neither of them is a 12 to start with. Look at y's, 7 and 3, they both go into 21. Neither of them is a 21 to start with. So I have to change both equations. So now you just get to decide which one. Do we want to make these 12s, or do I want to make those 21s? It doesn't matter. Either one's going to work. Let's say I decide to make the x's 12s. So I'm going to make multiply the first one by 3. That will give me a positive 12x. If that's going to make a positive 12x, I need a negative 12x down here. So I'd have to multiply 3 by negative 4. Let's do those distributing problems. 3 times 4x is 12x. 3 times negative 7y is negative 21y. Equals 3 times negative 6 is negative 18. Distribute down here as well. Negative 4 times 3x, negative 12x. Negative 4 times negative 3y, positive 12y. Negative 4 times 0 is 0. Add the equations together. Notice 12x, negative 12x, they eliminate. Negative 21y plus 12y, that's negative 9y. Negative 18 and 0 make negative 18. Let's divide by negative 9. And we see that y is a positive 2. So now I just plug that into one of the equations. I might choose the bottom one because it's smaller numbers. 3x minus 3 times y, but I know that y is 2. So I plug 2 in for the y. That equals 0. Negative 3 times 2 is negative 6. I can add 6 to both sides. Divide by 3. And I see that x is equal to 2. So my answer, my x is 2, my y is 2, so 2, 2. And number 8 will work similar to that. 6 and 7, they make kind of a big number. They make a 42, so I don't know if we want to do 42. 2 and 9, oh, they both go into 18. That's a little smaller. I'd probably try and make a positive and a negative 18 on number 8. All right, I hope that helps you guys.